Welcome back to episode 22,412 of the RECRAP. We're going to break down a third straight exciting Bears victory. Did it feel to anybody else like they hadn't played in a month? Like the Cubs played two entire playoff series in between the last Bear game and this one. It was nice of the Cubs to go ahead and lose so that we could just focus on the Bear game, because otherwise, they would have been playing at the same time. I don't think our sad little brains could take that. So thanks a lot, guys. A very exciting win, a little frustrating at times, but it's not so frustrating when it comes out the right way. So let's get the sponsor. I don't want to say sponsor out of the way. The sponsors are very valued, and this is a timely one here that we've got.
Once there were two bears, a big bear.
I'll have a Coca-Cola Classic.
And an even bigger bear.
Give me a case, Coke.
This bear loves the big, bold taste of Coca-Cola Classic, the original. And this bear loves the light, smooth taste of Coke. Because it goes down really easy.
How about another? Yeah, another case. Another case. You gotta keep a lot of Coke in the refrigerator.
Coke and Coca-Cola Classic. Once there were two bears.
Oh, wait, no, they didn't pay for that. They didn't pay for that twice. Just once. It's funny. You got to keep a lot of Coke in the refrigerator. I could think of some of his teammates that if you kept a lot of Coke in them, would have been completely different. If you didn't see the game, if you were too busy watching the exciting Brewers and Dodgers, the Bears won. So there you go. I'm breaking it to you. Congratulations, Bears 3-2, 3 in a row. Speaking of baseball, just briefly though, there were two Monday Night Football games on. They were staggered by an hour. They had both of them on down here until the Bills and the Falcons ended. And I mean, this is curious, but not that curious. At no point in either game did ESPN or ABC ever show a score for the baseball game. There's no ticker. There's no nothing. It's like, nope. It's not a coincidence either that there's two Monday Night Football games tonight and there's two Monday Night Football games next Monday, which could be, I guess, game 7 of the ALCS. Yeah. The NFL is just, no, America will pay attention to us, not you. And they're right. I just watched a little bit of the Ben Johnson press conference, and he got asked a question about the Hail Mary from last year. He's like, what? I don't know. What does that have to do with anything? And he's right. I did think ABC was judicious in their mentions of the Hail Mary. They had a graphic package ready, or highlight package ready. And somewhere around the beginning of the fourth quarter, we saw that. And Troy mentioned it once, I think, but otherwise, I thought we were just going to get inundated with it. I was really looking forward to that. And in an odd way, this game played out similarly to that one last year. If you remember, the final score of that one was 18-15. It was a terrible football game. This one was better because at least the Bears could move the ball and the Commanders could move the ball. The Bears shot themselves in the foot several times in the first half, and then I thought most egregiously, they had a 3rd and 1 with like 30 seconds left in the third quarter. And I was so sure they were just going to go to the fourth quarter that I picked up my phone and started flipping through Blue Sky. And all of a sudden I looked up and they're at the line and in a hurry. And it was a bad snap and Caleb took a sack and it screwed everything up. I didn't understand why they were in such a hurry. Like, just, you didn't have to be. Just let the quarter expire, get back. There was some very questionable officiating in this one. And, when you complain about the officiating, it always sounds like, well, we would never get the calls. But, I mean, the bad ones were pretty much all on the Bears. There was, the Bears had gotten off the field on a 3rd down, and they called a face mask on Nashawn. Is that how you say his name? Right? And so then they show the replay, and there wasn't anything. And so Joe was like, well, maybe he tugged on the face mask. No, he didn't. There was just no reason to call that. They had touchdown wiped out. Great catch by Rome. Because Theo Bennett had apparently lined up a fraction of an inch too far back at left tackle. I mean, even Troy was like trying to figure out how to draw on the telestrator so he could show that he wasn't too far back. There was, someone pointed out to me, there was the really weak offensive pass interference on Colston Loveland when he picked up nice yards. There was on the Bears' last drive, they ran a sweep, and it only got a few yards, but the Commander's defensive end on the slow-mo replay, all you were watching was him just sticking his hands in the face mask of a bear. And it was like, I don't think that's legal. And then the story of the game, of course, was kicker Jake Moody. And for wondering where Cairo was, he had not been cut. Although Joe gave a weird, well, the Bears have made a decision to change kickers this week. It's like, no, they're not changing them. Cairo has a bad quad. He's got a quad. And apparently it wasn't great all week. And so they had to make the decision to go to the Jake Moody, who they had picked up when the 49ers dumped him early in September. And Jake ended up playing a huge part of this game, which is usually bad. He was supposedly like this super clutch kicker in college. Like Jim Harbaugh was his coach at Michigan. And Vinny to kick from anywhere inside the Northern Hemisphere. I would have, is there a Northern Hemisphere? There's a Western Hemisphere. Eastern, I'm sure there is. North of the equator. Jake Moody would make it. I remember him making one kick. It was when Illinois got screwed on a pass interference call that should have, they had beaten Michigan and they got a phantom defensive pass interference call, and that allowed Michigan to kick a field goal, and little Jake Moody came out and kicked it. He made his first three without much issue, but he kept fucking up the kickoffs. So the way it works now, every team just wants their kicker to kind of see if he can drop it inside the 5, make them field it inside the 5. He had 2 touchbacks in his first 3 kickoff, which is bad. And then to try to make up for it, he was line driving them, and the great Luke McCaffrey kept getting like a 20-yard head start. And it's like, God, now I know why I think that was as much, that was a big part of why he lost his job in San Francisco. It's not bad enough that he misses clutch field goals, but then he costs you field position all the time. And the field goal he got blocked was terrible. It was Cody Parkey would have laughed at it from wherever he's sitting in his living room, clutching his most courageous player award given to him by Savannah Guthrie on the Today Show. That thing barely got, Troy was like, I don't think they had to jump to block that. That's not a great sign. And he was right. That's even worse. So there was a lot of drama late because Jake was going to have to kick. The Bears were setting it up for Jake to kick a big field goal. It's like, oh God, no. In fact, I joked. It was only kind of a joke. Commanders had the ball up 2 and we're trying to drive. And I was joking that everybody on the Bears sideline wants the Bears to force a punt, except for Jake Moody, who wants the Commanders to kick a field goal so that it's a 5-point lead and he doesn't have to worry. They get just score a touchdown. Well, let's win with a touchdown. We don't need a field goal. Normally, even Troy, when you hear this a lot, like, oh, if he'd have caught that, he was out the gate. And you always laugh, like, oh, of course he was. And then when the Bears got backed up and were throwing out of their own end zone, and they ran they'd cleared out the whole left side of the field and ran a crossing route to Olamide Zacchaeus, and he dropped it. And Troy immediately said that, like, oh, he might still be running. And I'm like, oh, whatever, Troy. And they showed the replay, and I was like, no, that was what would have happened. It would have been a 94-yard touchdown catch if he had caught it. Troy had an interesting, when the Bears went for 2 and didn't make it, he was showing how on the play, Kyle Monangai was immediately open in the flat, and why didn't Caleb throw it to him? And from the angle, they had paused the film or the replay. And Darnell Wright is completely blocking out Caleb's vision of anything happening over there. He would have literally just had to blindly throw the ball. Like, I think maybe Kyle's there. It's like, unless he can find a way to throw the ball into Darnell's rectum and have it come out of his mouth, I don't think he knew he could have thrown that pass. I want to, for those of you who are watching this, and I'm not doing this live because it just feels sad to do them by myself live. we did all the cup ones with Oleg and Praz live. These, just watch at your own leisure. Bears passing stats are still depressing, even now that they seem to have a modern passing offense. At one point they showed that Deebo Samuel is the only active player with 5,000 receiving yards and 1,000 rushing yards, and I was like, I guarantee you he would have whatever he has in the 5,000s. He would be the Bears' all-time leading receiver. And Deebo had one of those where he caught a pass, and Nick, don't call me Ray McLeod, made a nice tackle to stop him, and Troy was like, oh, Deebo must be frustrated that he couldn't get away from him. Like, well, maybe Deebo should lose 20 pounds, and then he probably would have run. He's a beefy boy for a wide receiver. I completely forgot. I devoted myself. Shit, I don't remember. Isn't that nice? That's why I need a co-host. Although they wouldn't have been listening to that. Like, I don't know. You were babbling on about something and I missed it. Let me think real quick. I don't know. Anyway, so when Jake, it was the stat. That's what I was going to do. I remember now. This stat came up after the game. I'll read it because I know most of you listen to this. You don't watch it. But for those of you who are watching, there's a picture of one of my favorites, Laura Rutledge. I think she does a very nice job on both college and pro football. She's interviewing our hero, Caleb Williams, one of our heroes, because he's got to share it with Jake tonight. With tonight's performance, Caleb Williams is the first Bear quarterback with 200 passing yards and a touchdown in each of the first 5 games of the season. Oh, the bar is low, kids. I'm glad he's done it. That's great. But this shouldn't be the first time that's ever happened. That's not like 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in 5 games. I mean, that would be like, holy shit, look at this. No, not it. That's not that. No. Obviously the biggest thing that changed in this game, well, 2 things really. The Bears, they ran the ball, which is amazing. I didn't know they were allowed, and they didn't stop the run, but they slowed it down. It did help that Bill Krusky Merritt kept like leaving the ball on the ground for them. Although the last fumble, which I made a joke about him because they said the reason he lasted until the 7th round was he only played 1 game at Arizona last year. He was declared ineligible. And I joked that he was ineligible because he dropped all of his classes and all the footballs. The last one was on Jayden Daniels, who is a little loose with the ball quite a bit. I mean, he's a very good player. I mean, it's obviously. But yeah, he's just ball security. Nah, not a fan. But anyway, so the Bears, they ran for 145 yards on 27 attempts. Well, that's not that great, but it is. It's 5.4 yards a carry. Before the first 4 weeks, I haven't looked it up, but I believe they averaged minus 2 yards a rush. Pretty sure. I think they had negative rushing yards. It was bad, whatever it was. And they were giving up like 6 yards a carry, 6.1. This is an amazing amount. And they held the Commodes to 124 yards on 31 carries. It's 4 yards a carry. It's still more than you'd like, but it's a big improvement. And it was a huge part of why they won the game, especially their ability to run the ball. And DeAndre Swift had an excellent game. He ended up with 14 carries for 108 yards, 7.7 yards per carry. they were so committed to the run, they actually let Roschon Johnson have a handoff. His first rush of the season. Congratulations, Roschon. You might earn your varsity letter this year. And Kyle Monangai, 5 for 19. Kyle, I think it was a screen pass, right? Where he looked like he was going to bust it. And then he's like, well, I'm too slow. I can't. It's like the old Bill Murray being Hercules. Oh, I can't lift that rock. Perhaps I could lift a smaller one. That's Kyle. I can't run past this linebacker. Perhaps I could run past a slower one. But that's fine. Ja'Cory, Bill, Krosky Merritt, and Kyle Monangai, the last 2 running backs drafted, both playing, for their teams who drafted them. And Kyle not fumbling the ball all over the field. So Brian Poles did it again. Congrats. A little uneven from the passing game. Caleb ended up, though, 17 to 29, 252 yards and a touchdown. Usually he doesn't he probably should have thrown an interception at the goal line. He threw way behind somebody. Zacchaeus, I think. And clanked off of Commode's hands. But otherwise he played well. 3 sacks. The one he took, that was at the end of the half, right? It looked like he wanted to throw the ball away, but then he thought he should go down in bounds so that the half would end and the Commodores wouldn't have a chance at a Hail Mary. I honestly don't think that like ran through his head in that second, but I think he was probably reminded in the huddle, it's 3rd down. We don't really want to have to punt this. So just stay in bounds if you have to. And it led to him getting just tuned up on the sidelines. He just like got caught in between and he got crushed. Like, all right, you know what? You could step out of bounds. That's fine. But yeah, defensively, Trey Edmonds, 13 tackles. TJ Edwards had 9, which means he had a chance to have 18. He's still, I don't know if he's still slowed by the injury or if every once in a while he remembers he went to Wisconsin and then he just can't catch guys. But Jayden made him look silly a couple of times, which he will do. Javon had a sack and a half. Dominique Robinson had half a sack. Jaquan Brisker got called for roughing. The Bears had the rule of the letter of the rule. That's not a thing. Letter of the law. Textbook definition of roughing the passer. They had both extremes of the ones that you're like, oh, come on. And the one was Montez on his follow through tapped. It looked like he did it on purpose. Like he was kind of like, hey, buddy, tapped Jayden on the head and got roughing the passer for touching him in the head. And then Jaquan hit him in the knee. He got kind of pushed and I don't think tried to get out of the way. He's like, well, I'll see if I can snap this skinny little bastard's knees. Both of those are in the, oh, come on, it's football, right? Except for when they do it to Caleb. That's just not fair. That's not football. Leave our quarterback alone. He's the only one we've ever had. Leave him alone. I want to get to the most important thing about Jake Moody, which I kind of noticed they did a close up of him on a replay before they showed his blocked kick. But when he was lining up for the game winner, they got right in there. The camera was right in the helmet. And he's a doppelganger for Reese McGuire. So I have a new nickname for him, which is the name of this RECRAP. At least it's going to be when I go to name it. The Carjaker. Huh? It's pretty good, I think. He looks a lot like Reese. I mean, I don't know what happened, if there were any parking lot incidents in San Francisco that may have led to him getting released. I don't think so. I didn't hear about him. But he looks a lot like him. I'm glad he had his moment. I really hope Cairo was healthy next week and we don't ever have to go through this again. But it worked. 4 for 5. And the Bears needed every one of the points. I was really hoping, the Bears ran the clock down at the end. There was a really nice run by DeAndre. They got a first down, which meant the Bears could basically run the clock down to the last few seconds and then kick the field goal and not have to worry about it. But I would have if I if I were Bet Johnson, I would have called timeout with like 20 seconds left to kick the field goal to give Washington a chance to do a Hail Mary so we could prove that we could defend it. So the Tyreek could run in and do what he should have done last year, just knock the ball away. There's probably still like a 28% chance that he would have lined up for the Hail Mary and just run into the crowd, cheer, egging them on again. So I can kind of see why they didn't do that. But yeah, the Bears are 3-2, and it's dangerous to look ahead. But here's the next 4 weeks for your Chicago Bears versus the Saints, versus the Ravens, who with our luck, they'll have everybody back. They'll be like 1-6, and everybody shows up again. Like, oh yeah, that's right, they're good. But there's always a chance. At the Bengals, they're no good. It's still going to be Joe Flacco by then. Although we know the last time the Bears went up against Flacco, was it the last time? It was Cleveland. That didn't go well, but that's different. And the Bengal defense awful, so that's fun. And then home against the Giants with the great Jackson DeArt. I mean, I'm not going to say they're going to be 7-2 after that, because they're not. But if they have a chance to have a nice run through those 4 games, say they go 3-1 in those. I don't know which one you lose, but then it gets a little rougher after that. Although who knows? I mean, it's Vikings, Steelers, Eagles, Packers, and then Browns, Packers, Niners, Lions. But yeah, it's fun to win some more games. It's more fun when they win than when they lose. This was a game like when it was 13-6, you're like, well, it should be probably 20-6. I mean, even conservatively, and it's not, which means it's pretty quickly going to be 14-13 or 13-7. I guess pretty much going to be 14-13 here, and it was, and it didn't matter. Not with these Bears. They're gritty and they're gutty, and they hung around and they won it, and it was fun. So we'll see. We'll see how they can handle. How can they handle success? I'm sure they're just got to be full. It is nice though. The defense, the Commanders. I know it's the Commanders didn't have Scary Terry. They didn't have the guy who caught the Hail Mary, although he's not really that good. But they still has a good offense, and the Bear defense, which had showed no signs of being able to stop anybody other than stealing the ball from the Raiders, from Geno Smith especially. Actually, the Jaquan Brisker interception, basically the same defense and the same interception that Byard had twice against Geno, where the Bears play that. It looks like a zone. It's kind of a combo zone man thing, but the whole idea is to bait the quarterback into thinking that he can squeeze the ball in front of the other safety, and the deep safety and the shallow safety sneaks back and intercepts it. I mean, it's one thing when Geno Smith falls for it, when the great Jayden Daniels falls for it. Whoa, that must really be something. I think it's clear the Bears actually, Dennis Allen's a good defensive coordinator, and it certainly helped to get Kyler Gordon back. They've really missed him. He's one of their best. He's their first or second best defensive player, and they hadn't played at all. So that was good to get him back. We got burned on that one touchdown. Yes, he did. I heard it. Still makes a lot of plays. Very nice, and he helps with the run. That was an underrated part of why they were struggling against the running game. Is that Kyler, for a guy who's not all that big, but for a nickel, really does a nice job in run support, and they were missing that, and so he's back. So anyway, Bears win. They're 3-2. We got a new nickname for Jake Moody, the Carjaker. I hope I don't have to use it anymore, but if he plays, I'll still use it. And all right, we're on to New Orleans. Short week. Get ready for the great Spencer Rattler. Oh boy. All right. Well, see you next week on the RECRAP.
Many of us have herpes.
Post-game show is brought to you by Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it.
It's fitting. It's got to be done with one of the best games of all time. Just unbelievable. I mean, got to congratulate the Dolan family.
Thank you. Sean, my podcast co-host Andy, you were his favorite player growing up.
Oh, thank you so much,
Awesome.
Andy.